What's happening, guys? It's Foisey here, and in today's video I'm bringing you guys a little review of my personal sit on top kayak. It's the Clearwater Mist 8.6, and that also goes by the name Future Beach Eclipse 8.6, and the reason for that, I believe, is because wherever this is manufactured, probably in China, there's just some place that's building these, and then different companies, I guess, are buying them and branding them for themselves. So those two names are the same name for basically the same exact kayak. So this kayak will sell for $300 or $400 online, but before any of you pay that price, I would strongly advise that you look at local retail stores and discount stores in your area, because a lot of times they're selling them for much lower. So right there you can see the little badge that says Clearwater Mist on it. If you get the Future Eclipse one, you're going to see that badge on there instead. But like I said, the discount stores will sell these for much cheaper. I got this one for about $190 at a local retail store named TJ Maxx, and there's also another one near me named Ocean State Job Lot that had these for about $200. So definitely do your research before you go and purchase this kayak online. Look in some local stores and see if you can find it for a better price. So as you guys can see, this is a pretty basic and simplistic kayak. There really isn't a whole lot to it. You got two little storage compartments with bungee cords, one in the front and one in the back. And this seat right here isn't the world's comfiest seat or anything like that. It has these little bungee cords that I didn't have on there so I could have it up, because when the bungee cords are attached it will fold down like that unless you're sitting in it. And if you guys could see right there, I do have a little trouble on that right hand side. I did have to kind of fix it because the metal holding these straps broke, so I had to replace it with some keychains. And the other side is starting to wear down too, and I'll probably have to reinforce the metal clip on the other side with some keychains soon as well. One thing I forgot to mention in the beginning of this video is that I have owned this kayak for about 3 years now, and I've been using it for about 3 summers. So I definitely have begun to put this kayak through the test of time, and I did just give it a cleaning. It was a lot more dirty than this. There also is some water trapped in the seat, and I don't know if you guys heard it a second ago. These bungees have also kind of loosened up a little bit. They were probably a little more tense, but they are definitely still usable. If they did get to the point where they were too loose to really serve a purpose, I would replace them. And there's also these 6 little holes on the bottom of the kayak that you put rubber plugs in, and they provide you with the rubber plugs. I don't really even see the point of having these holes. If you don't have the rubber plugs in, or if you lose one of the rubber plugs or it falls out or something, some water will be able to come in. It doesn't actually like sink your kayak or anything like that. The hole doesn't lead to the inside of the kayak, it just leads to the bottom of the kayak. So I have mine super glued in there, but if you don't want to do that and you lose one of the plugs, you can also replace it with a cork. I've seen some people do that, and they say that it provides a watertight seal as well. There's this little cup holder in the middle, and there's also some space if you took off these safety labels to put a rod holder. But that would probably only fit a rod holder that goes on the top and screws in, not one that goes flush. On the very back here, you'll see this little piece that you can unscrew. That leads to the inside of the kayak, and that's for the purpose of draining the inside of the kayak if some water does end up getting inside there. And on the front here, this is one thing that did end up breaking on my kayak, like the seat. Right here, this little plastic piece that holds on the little rope handle, this ended up breaking after about 3 years of use. I kind of wish they made that out of metal, that way it wouldn't break, but it seems like something that's easy enough to fix. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And moving over to the back of the kayak, I am going to show you what that rope handle is supposed to look like if it doesn't break like mine. I'm also going to unscrew this piece to show you how you would do it if your kayak did end up getting some water inside of it. I find that this doesn't leak at all or get water in it even after 3 years. The one time I ever had to open this up and unscrew it to drain it is when I accidentally capsized the kayak and it was upside down with the top half of the kayak underwater for about 3 minutes. I guess some of the treads or connections on the top end aren't exactly watertight. A very small amount of water did get in when that happened, nowhere near enough to sink the kayak though. To actually drain the kayak, you would just tip it the tall way or flip it upside down so that all the water inside will come out of that little hole. Over here, you're going to see a little ID badge. I've never really had to reference that or look at that at all. I'm not sure what that is. It must just be for manufacturing purposes, or maybe if you were having an issue and you had to call up the company or something like that. On the side, you're going to see these little carry handles. The kayak itself weighs about 40 pounds, so it's very easy to carry around from place to place by yourself. And I'm going to give you guys a quick look at the bottom of the kayak here. It stayed in pretty good condition over the last 3 years. I mean, there are some scratches on it from running over logs and stuff like that, but nothing has ever punctured the kayak or anything. There's no major cracks on it. You're also able to see these 6 little holes where the rubber stoppers are, and there's kind of little small divots or indentations on the bottom where those are. And I have heard people say that technically, because there's little indentations there, it will slow you down as opposed to a kayak that didn't have them. But take it from my personal experience, unless you're in a race or something like that, you're really not going to notice the difference. It serves the purpose it needs to just fine. And talking about that issue that I touched upon earlier about the water in the seat, you can kind of hear it swishing in there when I lift the seat up and down. I haven't figured out how to get it out of there yet. I might just need to like drill a small hole or something eventually. I haven't gotten to that point yet though. It might have gotten in there when I capsized the kayak and the seat was underwater for a couple of minutes, but I'm not entirely sure. And as you guys could probably tell by looking at it, the seat on this kayak is definitely far from being the world's most comfortable seat. I usually lay down a little towel where the butt area is to make it a bit more comfortable for myself. That will also keep my butt from getting wet if any water does manage to get inside the kayak. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that, as you guys can see, there's a couple little areas where you guys can put your feet. It's kind of like for different size people, there's different little pegs. And I do have to say, if you're over maybe 6'4" or 6'5", or if you're over like 240 or 250 pounds, this probably isn't the kayak for you. I don't think you're really going to be able to ride it comfortably. As you guys will see in just a moment, this kayak rides pretty low to the water, and if you are over that weight, you're going to be pretty low to the water level. Any slight little ripple in the water might cause water to come up into the kayak, so you might want to go with something bigger if you are over that weight. I can't recall if I already mentioned it, but this is pretty much a freshwater kayak. The wake in saltwater would be too much for the low profile. It would probably go right over it, and I mean, if you had a very still body of salt water, something like a bay or a little like closed off area where there really isn't a wake, then you'd probably be fine. This kayak's very flat bottom makes it great for maneuvering in shallow water and going over logs. However, because this kayak is so flat, you can't really use any flush rod holders in it because there's no space inside of the kayak. If you did want rod holders on this kayak, you are going to have to do the ones that are raised up above the level of the kayak, or I have seen some people use milk crates on the back of the kayak and attach their rod holders to that. That's also an option as well. Right next to the little badge that says Clearwater, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I did put a little GoPro mount on there as well. That doesn't come with the kayak, so don't be expecting that. This kayak does come in a number of different colors, but they're all pretty much one solid color. None of them have any patterns like camouflage or anything like that. So I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to say about this kayak. So I do want to do a little recap of the good and bad stuff that's worth noting. So for the bad, there was that weight height limit that I kind of mentioned. If you exceed that, you're probably not going to be able to ride this kayak comfortably. There's also that broken seat clip and the broken handle loop on the front of the kayak, but that did break after 3 years, so I did get a lot of good use out of those, and maybe yours will last longer. There's also those holes on the bottom of the kayak with the rubber stoppers, and I kind of see the holes to be pointless. Maybe there's some secret meaning to them or something that I don't know about, but I find it pointless, and if you lose the rubber stoppers, then water is able to come on the top of the kayak a bit where you're sitting. There's also that issue of water getting inside the seat if you capsize it, and it doesn't really affect the use at all, but it can get annoying hearing it swishing around in there long term. But I am going to look for a way to get that water out of there, and that seat is also kind of uncomfortable. You may want to cushion it up a bit when you use it. So that's pretty much all the big issues that I wanted to mention with it, and a lot of those aren't even really big issues. They're just the stuff that I really thought you guys should know. Moving on to the good things, the first one is definitely going to be the price, and that's if you are able to get it at a discount or retail place, not online, because these discount and retail places will sell it for like under $200. This is an awesome kayak for beginner to moderate level kayak users. I mean, if you're somebody who does kayaking all the time, you might want to get something that's a step up from this. Although I do a lot of kayaking all the time, and I still have this kayak because it's kind of just like a good messing around kayak, one that you don't have to worry about dinging up or anything like that. And it's really simple, lightweight, easy to bring from place to place. It fits in my car with the seats down. That flat profile also makes it really good for maneuvering in shallow water and going over logs, and you guys probably can't tell, but that water he's in right now is actually only 6 inches to a foot deep. So it definitely is a good fishing kayak if you're going freshwater fishing, especially if you put some rod holders on here. It has good storage too. It doesn't have exceptional storage, but it does have a space on the front and the back with bungee cords, so you could have 2 tackles on here. And last but not least, how could I leave it out? The cup holder. It has a cup holder just in case you want to kayak over to your local McDonald's and, you know, pick up a drink or something like that. So that's pretty much all there is to say about this kayak. It's either called the Clearwater Mist or the future Beach Eclipse 8.6. And it may go by some other names as well, but that's pretty much all the information I have to provide you guys with. I hope I've helped you guys make a better, more informed decision when purchasing this kayak. I'll put some links down below on where you can buy this kayak online, but I do stress that you look in local retail and discount stores. because I really do want you guys to get a low price and get the deal that I got. So if you guys found this video helpful in any way, hit that like button below, and if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for more great content just like this. And as always guys, thanks for watching.